Welcome everyone to this week's review of Gods of Egypt and Eddie the Eagle. Now let's start with Eddie the Eagle and make our way towards Gods of Egypt. So, Eddie the Eagle stars Taron Egerton, Hugh Jackman, and Christopher Walken, and it tells a tale of the titular Eddie the Eagle as he makes his way towards the 1988 Calgary Winter Olympics. This is a very fun story. This story has some of the same elements as so many other sports-related movies, and in fact, it pays homage to a little bit of Cool Runnings, and there's a couple Easter eggs here and there, uh, uh, basically going towards the Jamaican bobsled team of that time. But this is a really fun film, and it tells a really, really good moral, albeit way too many times, in the story. So let's start with the acting first off. Taron Egerton, for some people, just doesn't work as Eddie the Eagle. I think it works. He knows how to play innocent. He knows how to play goofy. He knows how to play, this very innocent type character that allowed me to basically be impressed by him when he had some mediocre things happen to him. Not, he goes 76 meters when in fact more and more people are going like 144 meters. But at least we're rooting for him because all of his life he's always been told, no, you can't do this. There's no way you can do this. And this is definitely one of those films that you would want to show your kids because it tells a story about not giving up. But I do stress that if you're a parent with this type of film, you might want to advise them on a couple things, as the message can seem a little bit vague. As with saying, "Oh yeah, you can do whatever you want, just don't mind the people who are telling you no." There's obvious things that you can't do, like murder, rape, obvious stuff that's against the law. So you might want to kind of explain that. But aside from that, when you're achieving your dreams, that message is pretty much very important to this film. Hugh Jackman in this role, in this movie, as the mentor, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it for how corny it was. I really enjoyed Hugh Jackman's performance. Hugh Jackman almost reminded me of Rocky's coach. Although not as impressive as Rocky's coach. Christopher Walken has a minor role in this, but it's pretty major to Hugh Jackman's character, and I'm not going to say anything more about that. Hold on a sec. My nose is a little bit plugged. Let's see. The writing in this film is a little bit on and off, albeit most of the time it hits. 75% of the film hits. But a lot of the time, it seems like every scene has people that are going to say no. Almost every scene. Doesn't matter who the person is, there's going to be a character that tells Taron Egerton's character no. 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 It's stuff like that, I know it's trying to get this message across, and it was already kind of pointed out in the trailer. Having this sort of backstory be built up in the trailer itself for Eddie the Eagle, that I feel that repetitiveness of the message doesn't necessarily lament the message. It doesn't really make it solid of a message. It just makes it more malleable, and it doesn't really stick well with a lot of people. So that repetition doesn't work. But the message itself is pretty good. The direction for this film, it's alright. It's an alright direction. I wasn't really too impressed by the direction of the film. However, I do have to give props to the music department, because it made me feel like, okay, growing up, I had a house. I didn't have a house, but I lived in a house that basically had almost nothing modern. So a lot of the music that we listened to was from the 60s to the 90s. And a lot of the stuff I listened to was primarily from the 80s. And I have to give props to the sound department and the music department for this film, because they really captured the sort of type of music that would be playing during that time with the original score. And then they have some other musical titles like "You Make My Dreams Come True." I danced to that song in the theater when I watched it. Pretty much the coolest thing about it. And I really have nothing else. My negatives about this film is that the message gets pounded in way too much. I would have liked maybe a downscale of it, not have it a huge priority, but still make it a priority enough. You know, just kind of scale it back. But that's kind of what I felt with Eddie the Eagle. And I will say that this is a fun time. I had a fun time watching this film, so I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. So, moving right along to Gods of Shit. Yeah, this movie doesn't even deserve the title of Egypt. This movie is so bad that it could be considered good. This might be the best, worst movie I might have ever seen. I mean, I've seen a lot of films that were bad, it's good. This is almost on the same level as Joel Schumacher's Batman and Robin. This movie is so goofy, so innate, so piss-poorly haphazard, that I honestly can't suggest it for anything else but for the crowd that likes It's Bad, It's So Good films. People like people who like the Room. For people who enjoy The Room as being so bad it's good. I have nothing to say. This movie is bad. This movie is atrocious. And I'll explain why. I'll explain why this is atrocious. First off, the movie, it has Gods of Egypt. Egypt. They couldn't at least cast one fucking Egyptian actor. I mean, I know I'm totally against people appropriating cultures and whatnot. But when you have an entire movie that doesn't even have a single Egyptian, that doesn't do its research right, it's bad. It's like saying that the first Indiana Jones, the enemies of the time were Amazonian princesses instead of the Nazis. Really, it's that bad. It's that bad. And then we get to the writing and the acting. The writing and the acting is so bad. Oh my god. I love Gerard Butler. I love almost any of these actors outside of this movie. But this movie made them look like pieces of shit. It might have been just the script, or it could have been the direction of this film. But this is from the same guy who did The Crow. Arguably one of the best R-rated superhero films, now up against Deadpool. Yeah, that movie over there, that guy directed. The guy who directed this piece of shit directed that awesomeness. And aside from that, the writing's atrocious. Okay, the writing is the same bullshit that we've seen in Clash of the Titans. It's the same as Wrath of the Titans. It's bad. Bad writing. Very bad writing. I'm sorry. And let's finally get to the visual effects. Some of the visual effects in this film are taken really well. The landscape shots are pretty. Some of the creatures look pretty cool. But that's about it. Those are the only positives. The rest of the time, most of the visual effects are shit. For example, the snake fire. You know, the fire that comes out of the fucking snake, the sand snake? Yeah, it is garbage. It is garbage. Smog did better fire effects than these sandworms. I'm sorry. The visual effects is bad. And then, to make it all worse, is that this film tries to feel like it's serious. This film wants you to make it feel for it. It doesn't earn it. It makes you want to think that it's cool by having all these 360 slow-mo shots. But it doesn't work. It claims it's cool. It's like that one kid who you know is lame, but yet he claims that he's the coolest bro in the world. I'm honest. I used to be that kid. And I can tell that this movie was acting just like me as a kid. So, all in all, this is a very bad film. I would not recommend it. I would never recommend seeing this film in theaters. Not even at a matinee, not even for a date night. Go watch it on Netflix. Go watch it on, when it gets to Redbox, rent it on Blu-ray or DVD. Because it really isn't worth your time in the box office. It really isn't. So this film gets a 0 out of 10. Guys, thank you so much for watching my reviews. I'm going to be doing some more stuff later today. But, again, yeah. Peace out. Cub Scouts.